Welcome to another edition of the Groove Junction, made by DJs for DJs. Wherever you are, whether you are watching it or listening to it, thank you ever so much, wherever you are in the globe, around the globe even. Let's get it right. Listen, guys, thank you ever so much for all your support. As always, episode 79 of the Groove Junction. Now, I did think that I had a guest and co-host with me today, but I got my dates wrong. It's next week. So I'm filling in. So I'm on my own. Short podcast for you today. A little bit of a Q&A session for you. So I've been going through some of the questions that are being sent to the Groove Junction over the past year or so. And I've decided that I'll do a little Q&A. Because what we do is we answer the questions and we just answer them directly. We don't tend to sort of talk about them on the Groove Junction. So I've gone through and I've picked out a handful of questions that have been asked over the last year or so, and I'm going to answer them on here for you. But before we do that, I want to say a massive thank you to our friends at Wolf Mix for supporting the Groove Junction. Now, before we do the Q, and let's very quickly tell you of some news this week. Wolf Mix, our friends at Wolf Mix, have just launched the new Wolf Mix Wing. Okay. Now, I've seen it. I've seen videos of it. I've seen it working. Amazing bit of kit. Now, if I'm honest, it's probably not going to do anything for me being a mobile DJ. But if you do big production work, stage work, concerts, that sort of thing, this bad boy is for you, 100%. If you haven't seen anything, jump on to the Wolf Mix website, have a look at YouTube at the Wolf Mix Wing. Amazing bit of kit. It's around about €699 or £699, something like that as well. So it's not unreasonably priced either. So have a look. It adds on, it's an addition to the W1, the W2, or W3 mark. So it's got to work. It looks nice. Looks really good. Have a look at that one there, that Wolf Mix Wing. And before you all start dropping off or whatever because you're bored of my dulcet tones, Valentine's weekend, ladies and gents, don't forget Valentine's weekend. All right, it's this weekend. Do something good for the other half. That's what I say. Right, let's get on with the rundown. And the rundown is sponsored by our friends Pro Mobile Magazine.
The Groove Junction rundown is sponsored by Pro Mobile Magazine. The magazine that's got it all. It's a game changer. They don't just do surface level reviews, they dive deep with real practical insights. And the interviews? They feature some heavy hitters sharing seriously valuable advice. But it's not just about DJ gear. They cover everything. Marketing techniques, and even the latest tech trends like AI, which is super relevant right now. Honestly, if you're serious about your DJ career, you need to check them out. And here's the best part, we've got an exclusive deal just for the Groove Junction listeners. You can subscribe right now by searching Pro Mobile Magazine and hitting the subscribe button. Just use our special code, GroovePMSUB, for a 25% discount on your first year's subscription, which is 6 magazines delivered to your door. That's Pro Mobile Magazine. Don't miss out.
Thank you, Pro Mobile Magazine. So, quick rundown. It is only me, so it'll only be quick. I had a great weekend. I had a really good weekend. So, on Friday and Saturday, I was down in Canterbury doing a silent disco, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Never been to Canterbury before. The cathedral is amazing. The actual city of Canterbury is also amazing. And what was great for me is that I was on stage with both Matty F and Archie. And it was great. I mean, I love working with those two. I mean, I love it. You know how much I love Matt anyway. But I was on the Green Channel on Friday night, which was like the poppy dancey sort of stuff, which was really good. It was a long gig Friday. It's 4-hour gig. Long gig. But it was good fun. 3 of us on stage. And then on Saturday, I was on the Red Channel, which is the R&B, hip-hop, and a little bit of UK garage as well. That was 2 sessions. That was two sessions in that evening. So a lot shorter than the night before. Really, really good. Matt was on form. Absolutely on form. He was absolutely buzzing. It was so good to see. He's done some videos. Have a look on Instagram and all of that. He's dropped some videos there as well. So check that out. And then I stayed over in Canterbury overnight, Friday night. Drove back Saturday night, back to Essex. Suddenly, I had a 75th birthday. Weird one. I've never done a 75th birthday during the day. So it started at 12, 1 hour's worth of cocktail drinks, background music. They all sat down for a 3-course meal. So background music for that. And then at 3 o'clock, 3 till 5, was a little party. Provided me a playlist, which was, there's a lot of old rock music and all that on there. Really, really good though. Finished at 5 o'clock. It was nice. It was a nice 75th birthday. Nice for him to see this guy. His birthday was Roger. His name was. Nice to see all his family and his friends around him, all having a meal. Didn't use it because it was during the day. I only took my Ape Labs and some uplighters. I didn't take any moving heads. Did use my Cosmopod DJ stand, which I love using. Really, really good. Yeah, enjoyed it. It was a really good weekend. Really, yeah. Not really a lot else to say. I just had a really good weekend. It was good to be with Matty again on a gig, and then we had a bite to eat and all that. It was great fun. Great fun. Right, that is the rundown. I told you it was short and sweet, didn't I? I told you it was short and sweet. That is the rundown from me. Thank you, Promo Bar Magazine. Thank you, Promo Bar Magazine. Right, now, as I say, I am on my own, very short podcast. I went through some of the questions that we've been emailed and direct messages through Instagram, and there's a couple of comments on YouTube as well. So I went through them and I thought, you know what, let's have a little readout. I'm on my own, so I've had a little readout. So I'm just going to go through some of the questions that have been put to us here at the Groove Junction. Now, as we always say, there's no such thing as a silly question. And if we don't know the answer, we'll find out the answer and let you know as best we can. Now, the questions have ranged from, wireless dongles, microphone use, where do I put my speakers? How much do I charge? What do I wear? How do I go about this? What do I, all the different, things that you can think of. We've had plenty of different questions over the 18 months that we've been doing this. And I'll put a few out and I'm going to give you my opinion and my answer to the questions. Okay. They're no particular order as such. I mean, we've got sort of some different categories: general, gear focus, software, wireless, pricing. Just a few questions that have been asked. Right, so let's start with this one, right? How do you prepare your music library before a gig? Now, for me, I will ask my customer if there's any music that they particularly want. Okay, and they can write a list. They can create a Spotify playlist if they want, and then I can go through. Now, I don't play through Spotify. I've got Tidal. I've got my own music collection, so I don't actually play through Spotify. But it's easier for the customer, or Apple Music even, either one. They can create their own playlist and then they can share it with me and they give me an idea of what they want. So I will ask them if they don't provide me a playlist and they say, you know what, just do a bit of everything for all ages or whatever, then I will, I've got like a crate that I've put in there that is music suitable for all ages. So stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, club, R&B, some cheesy music in there, that sort of thing. If it's like an older birthday party, so like 80, 70, 80, they're probably not going to want the club and the R&B stuff. So I sort of concentrate more on like my 60s and 70s music. And I will use Google. I will use YouTube. I will use TikTok and get some like inspiration from others. I'll type in Google, what's the top 10 most played 70s tracks or whatever, and it'll give you an idea on how to do it. So if you've got an open format DJ, if you're an open format DJ, and you've got an open playlist, do what you want. That will sort of come into one of the other questions. Actually, is how do you handle a crowd when it isn't reacting how you expected? So when you're playing music at parties, you need to read the room. Okay. Now, we all love a full dance floor. We love to have a full dance floor. We like people jumping up and down, laughing, dancing, singing. We love all that. And ideally, every single party would be like that. But there are times where people don't want to get up and dance. They're quite happy sitting there listening to the music, chatting to their friends and family or whatever. Things to look out for, are people bopping away, foot tapping, while they're sitting at the table? If they are, then you know that they're enjoying the music. You know that. You could tell that, because otherwise I wouldn't be, giving you that visual indication. If someone, if I put on say I was going to put on something like Luther Vandross, Never Too Much, pretty much a massive crowd pleaser. But if it doesn't get the reaction that, I'm expecting, I will move on to something else. I'll probably skip the 70s. I mean, he's early 80s to be fair, but I kind of play him within the 70s stuff, but he's early 80s. But I'll move on to something else. I'll, maybe try a bit of rock and roll, a bit of Elvis maybe, or I'll go on to maybe do, go deeper into the 80s, all the notes, that sort of thing, see if that works and see what the reaction is. And then maybe later on in the evening, go back to the sort of like 70s, early 80s stuff when I've had a few drinks. They'll partake a little bit more in that. So that's my kind of take on, that sort of thing. We're preparing for a gig. I ask them first, and I will create my own playlist. Very rarely do I not create a playlist or a folder for the music. I have got a standard playlist that I've just got a standard playlist, and it's one of those things, when you get a mental block, you think, oh, what's the name of that song? I can't remember the name of the song. And I've got a like a folder with all party stuff, and I think, right, if I'm playing this, memory jogger, like a memory jogger, that's what that one is. But again, it's just one of the questions: how do you decide what track to drop when you are reading the crowd? So again, read the crowd. If not, don't look like they're enjoying what you're playing, move on, play something else. Don't play another 3 or 4 songs of it. All right. Now, DJing and music selection is very similar to driving a car. You're not just watching the car in front of you, you're watching the cars 2, 3, 4 cars ahead of you. See what they're doing as well. And it's a bit like that when you're choosing your music. You're playing something now, you're thinking, right, I'm going to play that. Right, you've got 4 or 5 tracks in line, ready to go. Now, the crowd might throw you a bit of a curveball and give it, we're not feeling this vibe whatsoever. So you can either play the song out fully, or you can mix out and go into something else. Try, change the mood by going into something else. It's quite easy to do, and it could save your party. Don't continue with a genre or a decade or a year or whatever that people aren't feeling. Because you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do any good there. All right. So what's the best way to organise your crates or playlists for different types of sets? I've got a number of different folders within my system. I've got a decades folder, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties, 10s, 20s. I've got all of them, and all the tracks go in there. And then I make subfolders as well. So I've got a subfolder with like dirty house music, that I call it dirty house music. It starts off with a little bit of progressive house and then goes in. I've got an R&B folder. I've got a garage folder. I've got Afro beats folder. I've got essential hits folders. I've got party pleasers, party dancing tracks. And I've just literally separated them all into separate folders. So if someone comes up to me, are you going to play the garage? I'll go, yep, straight to my garage folder. I know all my garage tracks are in that folder. I don't have to type in the search bar. I could just go to that folder and I know exactly what it is as well. Like with my kids stuff, I've got a kids party folder, so I know what I'm going to play at kids. I know, and the reason I've got that folder is because I need to make sure that every track I play on a kids party is clean, it's safe, it's no swearing, there's no sexual references or anything like that. And I know once they're in that folder, I've listened to that track, I'm happy with it, and I can play that and I'm not going to get myself into trouble. Okay, so that's kind of how I do mine. I sort of like have a folder for pretty much everything, really. Very easy to put it all in alphabetical order as well, so it's very easy to find. People say, how'd you find your stuff? Like, you've got like so many folders. It's all in alphabetical order, so it's quite easy to find, as long as you know your ABCs. Right, gear focus. How do you choose the right DJ hardware for your style? Controllers, turntables, CDJs. Well, I mean, this one is like a personal preference, really. I mean, I started DJing just over 20 years ago, and I started with CD. It was like I don't know what you call it, a CD controller where you push the button and the drawer comes out. I think it was a Newmark. I think it was a Newmark one where you got like your thing there, and then you mix it, and then the CDs at the bottom. From there, I went on to CDJs. CDJ 800s, they were the silver ones. I couldn't afford the thousands, which were the black ones. Back then, the thousands were coming into the clubs. It was like industry standard, the Pioneer CDJ 1000s, the black ones. They were like industry standard. I could afford them, so I had the CDJ 800s, Pioneer CDJ 800. That's probably one of the only times I've actually had a Pioneer controller, if I'm honest. I am a Denon DJ, to be fair. So yeah, I mean, it's all personal preference. I was reluctant to go from CD to digital. If you've got a CD and it's got a scratch on it and it skips, okay, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't sound good, but it's not the end of the world. But my thinking back then was, what if my laptop crashes? My laptop crashes, I've got no music whatsoever. At least if it like skips and it jumps, I mean, I could just skip the track, go on to the next track. So it took me quite a while to go over to digital. And I did, and I went for the Denon MC1000, I think they were called, which was a little controller. It's not an all-in-one controller. I used my laptop. And what did I use? I think I went into Tractor, and I ended up buying myself the Tractor S5. And I bought that just as Stems was coming out, and Tractor had already got Stems along with VDJ. They were around about the same time, and they brought out the S5 and the S. Now the S8 had 4 channels to separate the songs, like the music separation, but it was a beast. It was heavy. It was so heavy, the S8. So I went for the S5. And then I bought it, and I was like, I'd watched loads of reviews on it, and I was like, yeah, I really want that. And I didn't realize exactly how much I relied on the platters, because the S5 doesn't have platters. It has like a touch strip where you speed up and you pitch and all that on your track. Don't get me wrong, I know Tractor are going into administration, I believe now, but Tractor was great. It was brilliant. Analyzing the tracks was fantastic. The software was really good. They bought out the X1, Z1, and F1, so you could have like little units. So you could put them all together in one big unit, or you could have little ones and a sampler pad and everything. And Tractor was really, really good. I really enjoyed using it. The controller was great. But now, as we're going further into, technology is evolving. We've now got all-in-one controller, standalone controllers, where you just pen drive. Okay, you put your pen drive in, that's it. I've got the Denon Prime 4 Plus, where I've got an SSD installed underneath, like inside the actual unit. So I don't even need a pen drive. All my music is on that. I can just rock up with my standalone. And with an internet connection, I can log on to Apple Music. I can log on to Tidal. BeatSource, I think, is another one there as well on there. I don't use BeatSource, but he's there. With an all-in-one controller, standalone controller, you can do a lot. You don't need the laptop, you don't need the CDJs. You can attach CDJs to them. You can attach turntables to them. Vinyl's coming back. A lot of people going back onto the old vinyl. So when it comes to hardware, I think it's more of a personal preference. There are some DJ shops around Phase One, DJ Superstore. They're the two I definitely know. You can just go down to their showrooms and say, "Hey, look, I want to have a play. Can I have a play with that? Because if I like it, I'm going to buy it." And they're not going to say no. All right, Mike is fantastic at Phase One. Darren down at DJ Superstore. They want your money. It don't matter which way you slice it. They want your money. So it means they're going to make £3,000 out of you because you're going to buy a standalone controller just for you to play on it for half an hour. They're going to let you play on it. Yep. So if you're thinking about it, go down the showroom, have a look, ask the questions, ask us at the Groove Junction, ask other DJs, ask friends, YouTube it. Okay, loads of info out there, guys. Loads of info. And you know what my motto is? Sharing is caring. You know that. So, yeah, so there's that one there. What's the best way to look after and maintain your gear? Bags and cases. Absolutely. Because your gear, the equipment that you've bought, your controller, your speakers, your lights, your cables, all of that is an investment. Okay, you look after your investment. Now, a couple of years ago, one of the things that I said that I wanted to do was get rid of all the cardboard boxes and have proper flight cases or flight bags or whatever they were. So that when I rock up to a venue, I'm not walking in with cardboard boxes. I'm walking in with cases. I'm walking in with bags. It looks nicer. And I will give a shout out to Mike Reddings. His bags, speaker covers, everything, all branded up. Mike Reddings. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I think Scott Dewing's got the same as well. I'm pretty sure I've seen some branding on his covers and that as well. Definitely get your cases. They could be the black and silver Swan flight cases. They could be I think they're Acru soft bags. If it protects your equipment, and it also looks better. All right, so definitely protect your equipment. Your equipment, your investment. That's what it is, your investment. How do you adapt when the venue gear isn't what you normally use? If I'm honest, if you're a DJ, which most of you listening or watching are, you know how to DJ. Okay, you know how to beat match. You know how to mix. You know what songs go well together. You know how to read the crowd. You know what songs work, what songs don't work, you know. So the equipment that you're using, pretty irrelevant, really. You could get by going for a party, rocking up and give it, oh, look, I've never used CDJ 3000Xs, never used it before, but there's a play button, there's a cue button, and there's a pitch, you know, to adjust your tempo, okay? And you've got crossfaders, you've got mixers, okay? You might not be able to do all the fancy stuff that you do on your own controller. You might not be able to do loops and mashups and stems and all that. You might not be able to do that, but you can still give a good party because you can still mix and you still know what song's coming next, what song you're going to play next. So you'll adapt to it. I know that Matty F goes to gigs. You know, he does take his own controller, but sometimes he's like, can't use the controller, right? His controller's so big, it don't even fit in the DJ stand. So he's using equipment that's not his. The only thing that I've noticed when you go into pubs and clubs where he's right, you can use our equipment, they're pretty battered. Because people don't look after it like they would their own, right? The faders are bent up, they're broken, paint's chipping off, half the knobs aren't working or whatever. And it's because people don't take care of their stuff. They don't respect other people's property. And that's what they do. People just go in, they just, bash it out. I'm going to redline this all night long because it's not my equipment. But if it was their equipment, if it was their speakers, their mixers and all that, you can guarantee they wouldn't be redlining it. All right, they'd be looking after it, they'd be taking care of it because they want that piece of equipment to last. So, yeah. Right, how do you approach software updates? Oh, it's a good one. So, more so now with the standalone controllers, you'll find that there's like a firmware update every now and then. Someone's found a bug, they found a glitch, and they've sent it to the developers, and the developers have fixed it, and they put out a new patch. I always wait. I could wait months, to be honest. I could wait months before I update any of my stuff. And the reason being is because 9 times out of 10, there is something else wrong. And then you'll be constantly updating to the latest firmware, or you'll get to a gig and it doesn't work or whatever. Personally, what I tend to do, if I know there's an update, I will have a look at my diary and find out where I've got like at least one weekend off, where I've got a whole week. If it goes wrong, I've got a whole week to sort it out, a week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever. I make sure that I've got time. If the update doesn't work for me or whatever, I make sure that I've got time just in case I need to. It is important to keep up with the updates because, there's certain things that, the developers have done to make your life a lot easier. There are people out there, myself included, if it's not broke, don't try and fix it because my system's running fine. Am I missing a trick on something or other? More than likely, but the software versions that I'm on at the moment, they all work fine for me. So I'm not in any hurry to update anything. But I should practice what I preach, really. You should update, the firmware and everything. And most of the, Alpha Theta, Pioneer, Alpha Theta, Denon, VDJ even, not so much Tractor now, but they've got a great customer support base. There's forums online that you can join, and you can ask other users. You could go on TikTok. You can ask us at the Groove Junction. We'll ask, right, who's a Denon user? Who's an Alpha Theta user? Who was using Tractor? And what you're going to do now? If it goes into administration, liquidation, whatever, or closes down, goes bang, whatever it is, and you're not going to get any support from the Tractor, like Native Instruments, what are you going to do? Are you going to stick with it till you run your gear into the ground without support, or are you going to move over to a standalone controller with Alpha Theta or Denon, or where you're going? I might do a little thing on that later on, so it's interesting. But I mean, you feel free, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Right, we're going to have a quick break, and then we're going to go on and answer a couple of more questions on lighting, wireless lighting, and pricing. We'll get onto that, and then we'll do the wrap up as well. And I want to tell you a little bit more about the Pro Mobile Conference. Exciting news about the Pro Mobile Conference. I'll see you after the. Welcome back to the Groove Junction. Had a quick drink. Right, let's get back onto it, guys. Thanks again for coming back to the Groove Junction. Right, so question, Q&A. I've been through and picked out a handful of different questions that were being asked over the 12, 14, 15 months or whatever. So lighting, we're on to lighting now. How do you choose the right lighting setup for different types of gigs? You know what, I have to be honest, as a mobile DJ, I kind of take out the same kind of light, the same lighting setup that I would go out with. So I'll take my 8 labs, I'll take a couple of moving heads, and I'll take my uplighters and all of that, and I'll make it work. Sometimes I get to a venue and I can't even put the uplighters, not the uplighters, the moving heads up. There's not enough space, or kind of a mirror ball or something like that. So kind of adapt when you get to the venue. You work out if you go to the same venues over and over again, then you can kind of work out, what effects that you want. Are you allowed to use effects machines like a haze machine or a smoke machine? Because that makes a big difference to your lighting. Is it a restaurant where they only want some ambient lighting, some uplighting around the room? That'd be enough for a couple of moving heads, but nothing too fast and furious. So yeah, it's kind of the lighting side of things. It's kind of, I take the same things with me, whether I use them all or not. When I get there, it all depends on the venue. Okay. How do you handle DMX or lighting software if you use it in your setups? Right. So all of my lights are DMX. On the very rare occasion, I will go out with my 8 labs and nothing else. So I just literally take my 8 labs and my Connect box and control it from my iPad. But if I'm going to a venue and I take my other uplighters as well as the apes plus some moving heads, then I will put everything through, including the 8 labs. I'll put everything through the Wolf Mix. We've had Simon from Wolf Mix on the show before, told us all about where it was born from. And as I just said at the beginning of this podcast, Wolf Mix Wing is now out as well. Fantastic bit of kit it looks. I haven't used it yet. I'm wondering, I might tuck them up, see if they want to let me use one and do a review on it for them. I don't know. I'll have to ask them. But yeah, I use the Wolf Mix. Before that, I used Show Express, and I loved Show Express. I'll be honest, I really did like Show Express, but it was done through the laptop. It was sort of taking longer and longer to sort of boot up. But once it was booted up, it was great. Show Express did what I wanted to do. But then the Wolf Mix came along. It takes 1 second to load, and I could do so much. Now that we've got the new update, it's out of beta as well now, the double trouble, you can have moving heads doing different things. They don't have to do the same thing. They can do different things, different colors, different shapes, different movements, all of that. I love my Wolf Mix, and I know there's a lot of people out there that also have got the Wolf Mix and have now, like it. I tried Sound Switch, couldn't get on with it. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. If I could get on with it, I may have used Sound Switch because I've got the Denon Prime 4 and I can integrate it all through that. But no, Wolf Mix for me all the way. Wireless dongles as well. Before the wireless dongles come out, we always used to sort of like daisy chain all of our lights from one into the next, into the next, into the next. Like we used to do all of that. But now we've got I've got the Chauvet DeFi wireless dongles. Great. Touch wood, never had a problem with them. The range is great on them. The battery life is just as good on them. It does a good job. So I am DMX all the way. I like to be able to control my lights. I've seen videos on YouTube and TikTok where people have got lights dancing around, being proper busy on the first dance, and I'm like, it needs to be sexy. I like to be able to control my lights. If I've got, Free From Desire, I want a blackout, and then I want, a full-on blinder followed by a load of strobes and this. I want to be able to control all that. I know what the song sounds like. I know what's going on. I know what I want my lights to do. I know the effect that I want to give off. So yeah, DMX for me all the way, if I'm honest. Wireless lighting gear question. What's the best way to manage battery life on wireless lights during long gigs? Now, I did look into wireless lighting. I went up to a conference, I think it was BPM, and they bought out a moving head, battery powered moving head. Let's be honest, in the UK here, our standard party is 5 hours usually for a moving head. I think the battery life would probably last the whole gig. If I'm totally honest, I think it would last. But like with any battery, its life will deplete over time. Where you start off with getting, so for argument's sake, 10 hours of life, maybe in 3 years' time, you're only getting 6 hours of life out of it, and then it dies. Now, from what I've seen, battery-powered moving heads, for example, they do have a power input, obviously, to charge them up. And, if the battery goes, you could just plug them in and away you go. I can see the benefits of having wireless battery operated, all of that. You can plonk a light wherever you want. And that's one of the good things about the things like the 8 Lab Maxi Plus 2s and the IR4s, that, any wireless uplighter, you can now just put them anywhere you want around, anywhere you want. Doesn't really matter. You can put them up high, you can put them up low, you can put them on the sides. The lights that I've got magnets on them. I can stick them to metal, come over them everywhere. So whereas before before we had wireless and Bluetooth and all of that, it was a case of you'd have to daisy chain. You'd have, you got to make sure there's no cables lying along the floor. So now we can make the rooms look special because we've got the battery stuff. Apart from my IR4s, my 8 Labs, my moving heads and that, they're all power. It works. It works for me. It works for me. If you run out of battery in the night, you're just gonna have to plug it in. Just make sure that you've got a plug spare nearby and a long enough cable to reach to a power source, just in case that does happen. That would be mine. How do you handle wireless signal reliability when controlling lighting over DMX or app-based systems? I have to be honest. I've not had any problems with them. Normally, not so much with DMX, because they've all got their own individual channels. But if you was going like via an app, you'd have a master and everything else would be slave after it. So what I would do is I would make sure that the master light, the first light in the chain, I would make sure that that was the one closest to the DJ stand where I am. I'd make sure that was the closest one. And then everything else is run off a slave. So they would work as long as that first one is near the DJ stand. So you can control it with a remote control, or you can control it with the app or whatever. You need to be some lights you need to be relatively close. But with the wireless dongles I've got and everything, I've never had a problem. They're the Chauvet DeFi ones. I've never had a problem, to be fair. It's not a great answer, but I mean, if you've got if you're doing it like a master slave sort of thing, make sure that master is closest to you. What's the best way? No, I've done that. How do you manage? No, I've done that one. What's the best way to pack and transport and protect wireless lighting gear? Exactly the same as you would if it was a mains power. All right. Now, with the battery stuff, obviously you can't let it get too cold. It's not something stupid like minus 40 degrees. So yeah, I'll just be cautious with your battery. Now, it is with batteries things, a bit like your mobile phone. You got to let the batteries run right down every now and then. All right. Now, I tend to do mine once a month. I run all my battery stuff, all my IR4s, all my 8 Labs, so my Maxes, my neon sticks, my XL sticks, all that. I run them all down to nothing, and then charge them all back up again to full. That will enhance the life of your batteries. A bit like your phone. If you only use them for 50% of the battery, eventually all that's going to happen is only going to charge 50%. That's it. And then you're going to get less out of it. So battery maintenance, again, look on YouTube, get some information on it. But with my battery stuff, once a month, I will run everything down to 0, and then I will bring them back up again and charge them back up. So yeah, that's that one there. How do you decide between full DMX control or sound to light? I'll be honest, again, going back to one of the previous questions, I like to control my lights. I don't particularly like sound to light. I don't like that kind of. It's not for me. I just don't think it looks as professional. If I'm honest, I think that if you DMX everything, you do have control over your lights. You don't want the bride and groom. I mean, one of the things I say to my brides and grooms is say, look, on the first dance, we're not going to have any dots on you or anything like that. We're not going to do that because that photographer is going to get that one picture could be the picture of the night, and all you've got is a green blob on the bride's face and he can't do nothing with it. So I try to keep my lighting quite minimal for the first dance and things like that. Sound to light, I just don't, it's great if you haven't got DMX controller or anything like that, but they're not overly expensive now, so probably affordable. I just think with having full control, it does make a difference. It does make a difference. So yeah, I'm not a lover of sound to light, if I'm honest. Pricing. What's the best practice when it comes to pricing yourself? Know your worth. Know how much you're worth. Okay. If you think you are worth £600, charge £600. If you think you're only worth 50 quid, then, talk to other DJs. Get some experience behind you. There's a lot of DJs out there that are going, I'm going to do 4 hours worth of gigs for about £100. Well, that's not right. Okay, it's not right. We shouldn't be going out at, DJs shouldn't be going out for £150. Okay, they shouldn't be. You shouldn't really be going out Like, I know it varies. I know it varies across the country for different areas. You know, you'd only get like, you know, 200-300 quid a party up, you know, further up north or whatever. I get that. I understand that. But if you're only getting, say, £300 for a party in the county that you're in, move further afield, move out a little bit, move to the next county. You know, so if I'm not getting the money I want in Essex, I'll move over to either like Hertfordshire or Kent. I'll start, you know, going out there and seeing what I can get there. You know, so worth, first of all, don't undersell yourself though. You know, take into consideration, you know, the communication with your customer, the preparation of your music, liaising with the venue when you can get in and set up, the setup. Okay, prep you put into the playlist, the end of the night, the packing away, the drive home. Take all of that into consideration, all right? And you'll get you know, you'll be able to charge a half decent price, and you won't be, you know, you know, selling yourself to, you know, too much, saying like I'm worth £1,000 or whatever. If you're worth £1,000, go at £1,000, you get £1,000. Crack on, my friend. Do it. Absolutely. Do I haggle on price? No, I don't haggle on price. My price is my price. I did used to sort of like say, look, as it's your first party, I'm going to knock £50 off just in case. That was a big mistake. I'm never doing that again. I know them on. I'll come back here. My price is my price. That is it. Yeah, there's no wiggle room really. To be fair. You can't go into the shop, you know, you can't go into Tesco's and say, you know what, I want this drink here, you want £1.50 for it, but I'll give you 75p. They're going to give it, put it back on the shelf, mate. All right. Someone else will have that for £1.50. All right. And that's one of the things, you know, sometimes when we haven't got parties and we really need the money, someone will come in, oh, you're a little bit pricey, you knock off 50 quid. So well, I was thinking more about, you know, £150, you give it, you know what? All right, I like the sound of you. I'll do it for 150 quid, right? But you take that party on for 150 quid, and then 2 days later, someone rings up and they said, "All right, can I have a party? I viewed you before. You know, I'm happy to go same price at £500. I can't do it, mate. I'm afraid I'm already booked for someone, and you're doing it for 150. So if you're not getting the price you want, nobody say, I'm sorry, that I'm not the DJ for you. Something else will come along, and if it doesn't, take a night off. If you're good, you'll get working. Don't just take the first job you get, you know, and they haggle you down or whatever. So yeah. Do I do gigs for free? Yes, I do. I do gigs for free. I do charity events for free, and I'm quite happy with that. The reason I give, well, I say I'll give it for free. They have to feed me and give me expensive DJ. I do my charity events for free, and one of the reasons for that is because they're there to raise money. And you know, if I'm going to like sting them for, you know, half of what they make, then they really made a lot of money. So I do my charity gigs for free, and I only do like 3 charity events a year. You know, if I'm lucky. I say I'm lucky. I don't earn any money out of it, but the exposure from it and the fact that other people will see me and potentially want to book me at a full price. So charity starts home, and I'm quite happy with that. I know there's DJs out there giving, no, mate, I charge full price. That's fine. That is up to you. For me, I do 3 charity events, which I have done for many, many, many years, and I'm quite happy to do it for free. I am quite happy. I get fed, I get watered, minimal setup, to be fair. And part of the reason it's minimal is because they're not paying me. Or, you know, they get a good show. They get a good display and get music and they're hosted or whatever it is. But yeah, I do it for free. And I will do immediate family for free. I will do those for free as well. And the reason for that is because I don't have to buy them a present. I'll DJ for a couple of hours for you. Yeah, so, yeah, close immediate family. Best way to prepare for the end of year paperwork. Oof, right. So no one likes the tax man, but so how to prepare? Just if you've got an accountant, great. Use the accountant. What I do, I've got an accountant. Basically, what I do, I have invoices, I have receipts, I have bank statements, and I put them all together. I put them in an envelope, and I send them off to them, and I let them sort it out. That is pretty much all I do. Payment wise, whatever party I do, doesn't matter, you know, whatever party it is, 20% of that gets squirreled away into a little pot, and it stays there until the taxman tells me how much he wants. All right. But then the beauty of that is that when the taxman says, right, you owe me XYZ, I can give it no problem. There you go. Right. Done, dusted. You don't have to worry about it. All right. You haven't got to worry about the taxman coming and knocking on your door. You haven't got to worry about any any of your stuff being, repossessed or bailiffs coming around or anything, you ain't got to worry about it. All right. So I put 20% away in a pot, leave it alone, don't touch it. Do not touch it. And then when the tax man comes along and he says he wants this, bosh, done, accountant's paid, thank you very much, I'll see you again in a year's time. Now, I do keep on top of my paperwork during the, throughout the year, but then I use a CRM and it does most of the work for me. So we had Dan Ross on the other last week, talking about DJ planning beats and the CRM there. If you're interested and you want to know a way that's going to, help you with your paperwork and all of that, jump onto that podcast, have a listen to what Dan was saying about, have a look at DJ Planning Beat's website. It'll make your life a lot easier. I've got CRM and it's so made my life easier. Really, really has. That is pretty much most of the questions that I picked out, really, to be fair. I didn't expect it to last this long, if I'm totally honest with you. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have another quick break, and then I'm going to tell you some exciting news about the Pro Mobile Conference. I'll see you after the break. Right, last bit of the Groove Junction this week. Right, Pro Mobile Conference, March 22nd, 23rd. Right, not many tickets left, guys. Okay, if you haven't got your ticket, go grab one. Go grab one. It is an amazing weekend. It's over 2 days, Sunday and Monday. Now, you're going to love this. You are going to absolutely love this. New person added to the lineup, Ewan Lawrence. Now, people on TikTok and Facebook will recognise, I think his company's called Tartan Entertainment. Basically, he started off cheap mobile DJ. Now he's got like a massive company, Tartan Entertainment, massive company, lots of DJs working for him, done really, really well for himself. He is going to be at the Pro Mobile Conference this year. Okay, he's going to he's a keynote speaker, he's going to do a seminar, and you're also going to have I don't know what the word is, but you're going to be able to talk to him. You're going to be able to ask him Q&A with him, ask him a question, right? Jack Christian is also doing the same. He's doing a seminar, he's a keynote speaker, and he's doing Q&A as well. Jack Christian, born in the West Midlands and now lives out in Texas and smashing it. We've had him on the Groove Junction before as well. So two really, they're just two, but that's just two of them. Okay, we've got Becca Pountney, we've got Jack Quemby, Peter Holding's got to say a few words. Honestly, the weekend is an education. It's networking. You're going to make new friends. You're going to see old friends. It is great. I'm so looking forward to it. There's not many tickets left, guys. All right. I'm going to try and get Peter Holding now. I know he's going out to Las Vegas next week, so I'm going to try and get him on to tell you all about the Pro Mobile Conference. All right, now I did my first one a few years back when it was up in Solihull. Loved it, absolutely loved it, and I've done 2 retreats since then as well. Love both of them as well. They will do seminars during the day. They'll do networking in the evening, plus a dinner, and then we've got like the Pro Mobile Awards, 8 different categories, mostly around about tech and your products and this, that, and the other. But they do have the category for DJ's DJ of the year. I won it 2 years ago. DJ Hater won it the year before that. Matty F won it last year. Plenty of opportunity to get your votes in as well. I'm going to give you more about that when I know about it. I'm not sure when the votes go. I think the votes close on I'm going to say the 16th of March. I will double check with Steve Honeyball on that one, but I'm pretty sure that it finishes. I think they open on the 1st and they close on the 16th, but I will double check that. Pro Mobile Conference up in Solihull in the West Midlands, Sunday, Monday, 22nd, 23rd of March. Amazing. You're going to love it. All right. Yeah, definitely. I'll be there. Danny Drayton's going to be there. Alan Marshall's going to be there. Brian Mole's going to be there. Master Mix are going to be there. Steve Honeyball, Peter Holding's going to be there. There's going to be loads of people there. Right then, the rundown. Last bit of the episode this week. The rundown, what we got on this week. So, busy week. It is half-term week. It's Valentine's weekend as well. So, Friday, I'm doing a UV party at a soft play centre that Been a DJ there for like 11, 12 years now. So I've got that Friday. Saturday, I have a 7th birthday party. Sunday, I have a 5th birthday party over in Hertfordshire. Monday, because it's half term, I've got a community, like down the local community hall. We've got a big party going there for all the mums and dads and children and all that. 10 in the morning, though. 10 in the morning, that's a bit steep, that one. 10 till 12. Screaming kids at that time in the morning, it's a bit much. And then I've got another UB party on Tuesday. So yeah, busy week. I've got all the stuff, bits and pieces ready. I made sure all the battery equipment is all charged up, which is great. Yeah, looking forward to it. Now, listen, guys, we have run out of time on this episode of The Groove Junction. As always, I can't thank you enough for all the support that you're giving. Keep those messages coming in. If you want to shout out on the show, please let me know. If you want to come and co-host and be a guest on the show, tell us your story. Would love that. Let me know. Drop me a message. PM me. Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is, just drop me a message. We will be back again next week for another episode of The Groove Junction. Thank you ever so much. As I always say, I wish you safe and I wish you well. Look after yourselves and look after each other. Be lucky.